Today, we're looking at what might be the most important aspect of bass fishing, bar none. It's one of those critical foundation concepts where we build our bass fishing up from there. Yet, it's so often overlooked, and it goes without saying, it's costing you a lot of bites. What is it, and how can we fix this? Well, we're going to talk all about it, so stick around. Got him. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good fish. Oh, he's fighting. He's trying to get in those weeds. Come on. Come on. Go into the hydro. Oh, boy. That's a nicer fish. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And as you can see, we're back out at the big lake once again. And I know I haven't recorded here in a while, but it's been so busy here. You've got people that are walking by in their vehicles, interrupting me when I'm trying to record, boats motoring by in the background, and just beyond that tree line, there's a neighborhood and a busy road. So a lot of times it's just too busy to record here. Maybe today I can get this one done. And if I can do this one, maybe I'll continue it. I really like recording here. But in the intro, when I said that most anglers miss out on the most important aspect of bass fishing, that wasn't hyperbole. A lot of times, the major focus that we have is, what are we going to tie on? What are we going to throw? And that's not step one. What's step one? Well, to quote a realtor agent, location, location, location. And I don't mean where we're going to fish next or where we're going to fish first. I mean, where are those bass going to be set up and why? Because as the old adage goes, you can have the wrong lure in the right water and catch fish. But if you've got the right lure and you're in the wrong water, you're not catching anything. And that's kind of the mindset we need to have. But before we get started, if you like bass fishing content that tries to be inclusive for everyone, whether you're fishing from a boat or whether you're fishing from the bank, and always thinking about budget, because not everyone's got a lot of money to spend on bass fishing gear, well, this is the channel for you. Click that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like. It helps out the channel a whole bunch. So, location, right? I'm talking about not where you want to fish, but where those bass are setting up and why. And to figure that out, we need to do our homework. I've talked about that before, although it's been a while. Before we head out to the lake, preferably the day before, you're checking the weather report and you're checking Google Earth and maybe something like Active Captain or Navionics, or, if you've got a fishing app, maybe something like that. You're doing your homework, because with just a little bit of preparation, and it doesn't take that long, but with just a little bit of preparation, you can increase your efficiency on the water, your fish catches on the water, and have just an all-out better day. Now, today, I really tried to focus on location. We are past the spawn here in South Mississippi. We've moved from the spawn, and now we're heading into the post-spawn. Those girls have already come off the bed, and a lot of the buck males have vacated their beds. You've got a few fry garters left, but not many. So I wanted to catch, obviously, those bigger fish. And I realized those girls have moved back, but they're not all the way back. Those bass are still very much shallow. So what are the things that I'm targeting? What are some of the things that I'm using? Well, hard edges. And not just like hard edges for timber, like a laydown or a stump or even a dock. But anything can be a hard edge, even a shadow or a mud line in the water, as a loud car goes screaming down the road on cue. But even something like a mud line. And today I was targeting an underwater creek that has vegetation along the edge of it. And right at that vegetation, right at where the creek arm is under the water, that vegetation comes to a halt. So it's very different. And those bass love to set up along those hard edges. And they use those hard edges as highways whenever they're coming back from the spawn. That's what they're using as they travel back out, as they're still in those shallow waters. And to fish those hard edges, I know a lot of guys are using things like a spinnerbait, things like a crankbait, but I went in a completely different direction, and I started throwing this. I know it's crazy, a topwater frog. You don't think about using a frog to fish edges, but I was. I saw those vegetation lines. I saw where the creek channel kind of cut through that shallower water. It's very visual. You see where the hydrilla goes, and then it kind of stops for a little bit, and then it goes again. So it's a very clear giveaway. That's where that underwater creek channel is. And I took this out because I'm only in like 2 or 3 feet of water, and there's hydrilla everywhere. So obviously that's what I threw. I threw that one, my good old scum frog, and I also had a white booyah pad crasher. And not long after I started fishing that frog, well, this was the first result. Got him. Go get out of that gunk. Get out of that gunk. Get out of that gunk. Come here, you. Come here, biggin. There we go. Yeah, not a bad fish, not a bad fish. Oh, whoops. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hang on, dude. Hang on, dude. Hang on, dude. Get. Come here. All right. Pound and a quarter on the white booyah. All right, good deal. Thank you, pretty. Thank you. Let's go catch some more. Oop, and there he goes. All right. So, right on the back edge of that weeds, on the back edge, there's another little channel that went through, and right as expected, that's where that bass was. I had to bring him through the slop to me, to my side, but still, he was on that far edge. It was a nice catch, and that's how I was fishing all day. I was scanning, I was making sure that I saw those hard edges, those hard lines, and keeping location. Not my location, but the bass's location. And I tried to angle my boat, and I tried to set up so I can maximize my casts, so I can make sure that each and every time I'm hitting those angles, those edges, working along those tight seams where I knew those bass were going to be set up. You know, I switched from that white booyah to this frog because I just love fishing this thing. This is my favorite frog, this ugly chartreuse scum frog. It's light, but it is so super soft. And I had the wind at my back a little bit so I could make some good casts, and that's exactly what I did. And not long after I tied this one on, fishing in the same area with the same sort of mentality, well, this happened. Got him. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good fish. Oh, he's fighting. He's trying to get in those weeds. Come on. Come on. Go into the hydro. Oh, boy. That's a nicer fish. Come here, you. Come here, you. Oh, yeah, that's a nice fish under all that hydrilla. Look at that. And that's why we put the chartreuse spro frog on. Scum frog. Jeez Louise. Anyway, let me slide that over to the side. There we go. Yeah, 2 pounds. Nice fish. You get him a mouthful of hydrilla. Let's get you back in the water. We sure do appreciate it. We sure do appreciate it. Thank you. Oop. And there he goes. All right, let's go catch some more. So another amazing fish. Again, pulling it through the slop in super shallow water. But if you look at the video, you can see there is hydrilla and then there's an empty spot. And right along that empty spot, that's where that blow up happened. That was a little bit more of an aggressive strike than the first one, but that just means that those bass are hungry as they're coming off of those beds. So that's the sort of thing you want to focus on whenever you're beating the bank, whenever you're walking down that bank. There's a reason why bass are using laydowns, why they're using that structure, whether it's cover, whether it's structure, whether it's man-made, whether it's natural. those hard edges, those hard lines, something like a shadow, something like a crease or a crevice, or even something like a floating boat dock, those are going to be the places that those bass are naturally going to want to move to. There's something about it that those bass like, and even with the strange wind pattern we had today, we still had quite a bit of wind out here on the big lake, but it created some really nice edges that you don't ordinarily see out here, such as this. Now you see that right there in the water, the wind's coming off of that point and blowing it this way and coming around. And we've got a mud line, a fairly well-established mud line that comes through here. These are some of the things that you want to look for. Look how awesome that is. Nice edge. These are the types of things that the bass love. And this is rare. We hardly ever get these. But we've got the way the wind is setting up. It's blowing out of the south in such a way that when it hits this point, it's splitting up and causing the current to go like this, which is bringing sand and silt and everything else with it. So you've got a nice, well-defined mud line that curls out and just kind of empties out back there. But this is where bass like to hide out. This is the type of place, if you see something like this, you've got to make some casts. And a lot of times, you're going to be rewarded with some really nice fish. So that was a nice mud line. Obviously, it wasn't very big, but you see something like that, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Bass love to set up along the edges of a mud line. Sometimes they'll be right inside that dirty water, and they'll use it like an ambush spot. Or they'll set up against it, again, looking for those nutrients to be coming down, because if that mud line's flowing, then there's current that's flowing, which is bringing nutrients for the phytoplankton, but which also increases the biting of the shad and the shiner and even the sunfish, which in turn triggers those bass to be more aggressive. So don't be afraid whenever you're looking from the bank. Don't think about, how am I going to fish from my favorite spot? Think about, where is that bass's favorite spot, and then go there. And a lot of times it's not nearly as far away as you might think it is. I was fishing dirt shallow water today. The cast that I made could have easily been made from the bank. And as a matter of fact, since this lake is still down, you can still see it. You can walk that edge all the way around this lake. So bank anglers, they can still catch every area of this lake. You could have easily walked to where I was. So whether you're on a boat, whether you're on a bank, this is still doable. Look for hard edges. It can be laydowns, it can be boat ramps, it can be whatever. Especially, don't ever sleep on a boat ramp. And whenever you remember that sort of mentality, whenever you remember those basics, the basics are important for a reason. They provide an awesome foundation that we can build our fishing knowledge and our skills up from there. And watch how many more fish, how much more incredible your day on the water can be. So there you have it. The single most important concept in bass fishing: location. Find out where those bass are. And there's so many easy ways to do that. Today, I focused on using hard lines and edges, and it worked great for me. Try it out. I'm sure you're going to have way more success. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.